and corporate plays. We'll groove through it all in funky ways. So join us now, let's find our way. Listen to pips and pivots every single day. Woo! Get money, get paid.
Hey, what up? Welcome to another episode. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. So today I do an interview with Charlie Cruz. Charlie, I've known for like going on 10 years. We used to work together a long, long time ago. And I wanted to talk to him because he has a background kind of similar to mine, where like he didn't finish college. He started out selling like some real kind of low level stuff. And now he's an enterprise AE at a software company. And he's got to be making like millions of dollars, right? But he's an awesome sales rep. He was fun to work with. Yeah, he's a fun guy. And like his background is really interesting. So I figured for my audience, like just hearing some of the things he has to say will be both inspiring and useful. If you're like, in this role where like you're outside of tech sales, you want to get into tech sales, or if you're early in your tech sales career or just career in general and you want to get into enterprise sales, like Charlie he charted that path. So he shares with us how he was able to do that. And then the whole platform kind of took a shit. And so everything was cut off early. But I think that's fine. Like I wanted to talk to him about two things. I wanted to talk to him about how he went from like selling cell phones in a mall kiosk to enterprise software. So we got that whole journey. But the other thing I wanted to talk to him about, and this opens up the opportunity to have like a second episode with him, is that he's in like 5 different bands and he's like always playing. And so work-life balance, like I don't know how he does it. He's always busy. Like he goes on like tours and shit too, like regional tours. And so it's like, how does he balance all that? I don't know, but he does. So I'll have him back on another time. But at any rate, here's my talk with Charlie Cruz.
All right, boom. Now we're recording. We can cut anything out if you say anything horribly like racist and homophobic.
Good. Nice. Have you done these before? Is this your first one?
Oh, you don't listen every single week? That's not very supportive.
I do not listen every single week, my friend. I'm a busy dude.
No, I've done like 20 of them. I just put them on Spotify. Jesse, do you remember Jesse Woodbury from Volusion?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I worked with him for maybe my first 6 months of Illusion, but yeah, I remember that guy.
He has a podcast, and he had me on it a couple times, and like we were just talking after one of them, and he's like, "You should have a podcast." It's like, well, how the fuck do you do a podcast? And he's like, "You could just record yourself talking about whatever for 15 minutes and put it on Spotify, and then that's all you have to do." And so I was like, might as well try it.
Yeah, I see him and you as well posting all the time on LinkedIn, and this is probably the first time in my career that I actually really have to use LinkedIn. So it's like, oh man, yeah, it's wild. So I'm like the noob, man. I'm like the boomer who gets on Instagram for the first time, but it's reversed,
Yeah. Is it pretty cringe and annoying seeing all the stuff I post on LinkedIn every day?
You're like the edgelord of LinkedIn, dude. It's great. It's
That's
awesome.
funny.
There's one that you posted. It'll come to me, but I laughed so goddamn hard, and I showed it to people at work, and they got a good chuckle.
Oh, good. I posted one on like a Hawk Tuah girl meme.
That's what it was. Yeah. It was to the point where I was like, I don't know if I should be sharing it, but then I was like, that's exactly the point, What, are you going to get reported to HR? He sent me something inappropriate on LinkedIn. What was it? A meme?
It was on LinkedIn. Yeah. But for your job though, it's like, are the people you're selling to, are they even on LinkedIn?
No, that's the thing. Not really. I mean, they are, right? But they're just not active like they would be in tech sales. I feel like in software sales, every single one of those C-level people is kind of, taking on the guru, fucking Steve Jobs persona type. So they're very active on it. My dudes are roughnecks, man. A lot of them are, blue collar, they're roofers. That's primarily what I'm working with roofers. So they're really, really old school, but their team, if they've got young people in the team, generally they're pretty active on there. Mainly just posting their accolades, awards, and stuff like that. So it's weird. It's a different type of engagement. You can't
So
flirt with them the way you would like C-level person at Apollo or whatever.
it's probably like those types of people, or like people of that generation. It's funny how sometimes you'll find them, maybe you see this on LinkedIn, but you see it on like Facebook and Twitter, where they'll have multiple accounts because like they'll create an account to do something and then they forget the password, and they're not savvy enough to know how to reset the password, so they just create another account and they do it. So they have like 4 or 5 accounts.
God, what's sad is that I might be one of those people. Back when I like made the jump from Hotmail to Gmail, I think I just said, screw it, I'm done. I'm just creating a whole new identity online through Gmail. So there's 2 versions of me out there if you want to do your research.
So the podcast that I do, it's mostly, it's not about like tactical sales stuff, like how to sell and all that. It's more about career stuff. So it's for like people that are maybe at a job like Volusion, and they want to hear someone who's in enterprise sales, and it's like, how the hell do I get out of like this fucking cubicle mill into like an enterprise sales job like Charlie Cruz. So that's what I was hoping to talk to you about.
Cool. Yeah.
So how'd you get into enterprise? You weren't you like selling cell phones in a mall kiosk at one point?
Shit. Dude, I got started 2006, like immediately after high school. Like the first job was actually it was called Pocket Communications in San Antonio, and it was like a local cell phone company where the network only went as far as San Antonio. You go out of San Antonio, you're shit out of luck. And like majority of San Antonio was like busted anyways. So I worked in like the rough HEBs in San Antonio.
Oh, shit.
And we had the kiosks there. I was like, you get a free phone and it's $20 a month, right?
Yeah.
Simple as that. But yeah, that company folded so fast. And then I was at a mall kiosk for T-Mobile. And yeah, that kind of set me into sales. That's when I started getting like, $500 to $700 commission checks. And back then for, a punk rock skateboarder, you're like, holy shit, I'm rich.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Okay. So how'd you make the jump from like, mall kiosks and selling cell phones into like selling something to businesses?
Man, it took a long time. So I was content. I went from the kiosk to a retail store, and that's when I'd moved up to Austin. And shit, dude, I stayed there for a long time. Stayed there for like 7 years. But it was great. I mean, I did everything there. I was the team lead. I managed it. I trained. I did the B2B sales, which was basically, just working with the car dealership so their salespeople can have. Back then for Sprint, they had Nextel, the walkie-talkie stuff. So there's a lot of construction companies. I speak Spanish, so it was very easy to just stay comfortable, and I did that for so long. And my neighbor George, he worked at Volusion, and it was funny. I met him when I was working right before I moved next door to him. And we met and we started just chatting. I told him like, yeah, I'm moving into the neighborhood. And what street? Oh shit, same street. What house? Oh my God, you're going to be my neighbor. And he was working in tech sales. He was working at Volusion, and he's like, dude, just come apply. He asked me for like 2 years, and I just wouldn't do it because I was comfortable, I was doing band stuff, and it was super easy. But he finally brought me over as the inbound rep. Yeah, I wouldn't really call it entry level sales. I thought that was like a pretty proper, like, account executive equivalent job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I like kind of leapfrogged a lot of the stuff. Like I never had to be a BDR or anything like that. But yeah, Delusion, I just stayed there for it's the same thing, right? I fell into the same trap, got comfortable, and I stayed there for 5 years. But when I was there, it was so easy to navigate. There were so many.
Hang on,
like
I'm still
plans.
listening. I just got to turn this light on. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Yeah. You were there 5 years. I was there like 4 years. So
yeah. It was like
And
5,
it
maybe
was,
close to 6. Yeah.
I was super comfortable there too. The only reason I left was just, because we had Matthew, and you have a kid, you have to make more money, and they're not going to pay you any more money. So
Yeah, and it sucks because I thought everything about that job was perfect. It was exactly what I needed to like jump to that next phase of just maturity of life. Like, man, majority of like my friends are in one way like connected to that. It felt like college, right? It was such a great like first sales experience. The cool wannabe Google office with all the cool shit, wear what you want, drink beer at your desk, bring your dog to work. All that was awesome. But yeah, I was super comfortable there. And then I kind of like maxed everything out in terms of position wise. I was the inbound rep, and I did web design and marketing sales, which was completely different. That was more outbounding. Granted, you were outbounding to customers that you already had, but it was still, cold outreach. So that kind of like helped for the next phase. But yeah, then towards the end, that's when we started doing the enterprise stuff, the wannabe omni-channel, whatever. Not to shit on the company, but I don't even think they're still in business. If they are, cool. But yeah, then, I think the one thing that like always kept me comfortable is just like how easy it was. You just follow a process and just rinse and repeat, and it's annoying, or not annoying, but monotonous, but you get so much better subconsciously. And for me, just I guess that longevity just made it second nature. So I was always, near the top, if not at the very top, just due to experience and, just it coming naturally. But yeah, then after that, it was your fault that I left. However, it was good. You had turned down that one job, that texting company. I interviewed with them when you threw them my way, and dude, they just offered me so much more money, but I should have like noticed the red flags. It was such a small company, like trajectory wise, they're just one like rule change from the FCC, like to making them just completely like useless. And yeah, dude, I jumped in thinking I would have that same success, and to a certain extent I did. I mean, I was only there for 1 quarter and I hit 200% to goal, but
That's
they
great.
never had anything like lined up in terms of a marketing department. There was no outreach for sequences. They didn't even have Salesforce, dog. Can you believe that?
Yeah, we're using
rough.
HubSpot.
Yeah.
They were like, that whole team was like a startup within the company. Like it was
Dude,
brand
it wasn't
new.
even
So
a
you
team.
were.
It was just one dude. It was just one dude, and he was the VP of sales. So I was like, wait, you're just the only guy like selling the inbound stuff. Like it's all you.
Wait, you're the VP of sales. Who else is in sales? And he's like, you, Charlie. I'm the VP of you.
It was bad. I mean, there were some other people there that did kind of the inbound stuff, but for the like larger things, I don't know. Anyways, they had tax issues, and first of the new year, or right after New Year's Eve, I come in and like there are people just coming in and out of the main dude's office with envelopes, and they call my name and they're like, yeah, so this mid-market department's just not really going to work out.
No shit.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I don't think they're around anymore, but that was great though, because it got me to bust out of that first gig and send me to where I was at. This was 2019 or 2020. It was January 2020, right before all the shit went down. And God, dude, I interviewed like maybe 20, 30 times, and I got 2 offers, or I got an offer from Rackspace, and I had like a whole bunch of like homies from San Antonio that worked there, and my sister used to work there, so I got a pretty like great offer. And I already had that in the hand, but I had the interview with my current company, and when I went to that, it reminded me of like early Volusion in terms of like the atmosphere, but it was like the product was water and air, like it just, it was one of those things that felt so, at the time, I didn't realize it would be recession proof. People are always going to need like home improvement, right? That's never going to go away. And that just made so much more sense. It was leads, it was just selling leads, form fills, people raising up their hand, very similar to that like Angie's List model. But yeah, I got an offer from them, and it was fucking $15,000 less in salary.
Yeah.
And
But the vibes were better, like the
vibes
culture
were better,
or whatever.
And I'll tell you what, like, really just kind of solidified it for me. Rackspace is like huge. They sell like server space, and they have a whole suite of like technical shit. And I was just thinking about like selling that versus selling leads, to people who need them and are going to get them one way or another. That just made more sense. The vibe was cooler, and I just went that way. And the main thing that was that drew me in is that I would be working inbounds again.
Oh yeah.
But on a higher level, with bigger companies. So I was like, man, that's so rare. That shit doesn't exist. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So to like be able to just, kind of pick things back up, great. Shit, man. 1 week before I started, my first week, pandemic hit. So, yeah.
So were you shitting your pants?
No, I was kind of like glad that I had just gotten a job, because everyone else stopped hiring, and everyone like started struggling getting a job, and job market just kind of went to shit. And
there was like tons of layoffs right away too.
Yeah, it was instant, and I kind of had fear of that for a little bit, but business was killing it.
So you guys didn't slow down?
No, not at all, because think about everyone that was at home.
Oh yeah.
Everyone that was home starts thinking about doing home improvement. So yeah, we started having just an abundance of, product, and there was an abundance of people who were chomping at the bit to get work done, during this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Right place, right time.
Right place, right time. And yeah, I did the regional side of things, and got promoted to mid-market. Mid-market was doing, outbounding, reaching out to internal client base, some MQLs, and did that for a few years, and same shit that I was doing Volusion, just kind of working up. And last 90 days been doing enterprise, and
big time,
starting all over again, man. It feel like an infant, but
are you just like a millionaire now though, because you're enterprise? Like, I got $1 million, right?
Yeah, I got my $1 million sign on, and immediately got my $1 million commission check right out of the gate. No, it's cool. I mean, in theory, you're working with bigger companies that are spending more, so the commission's going to be a lot better. And I see it with some of the guys on the team. People have been at the company like less than me, who are just maxing out. Like, it's insane.
But like zero inbound now, right?
Zero fucking inbound, dude. It's all cold outreach. Like it's starting over from scratch, man. I just got a list of named accounts, TAM, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's just starting from scratch.
How's
Now,
that how's the learning curve been going from like kind of, having some inbound stuff and now it's just like you got to like you're at zero. There's just nothing.
yeah.
You got to make it happen.
Yeah, I started what was it? 1 month into the last quarter of the fiscal year. And I had an advantage, right? I've been at the company for almost going on 5 years now.
Yeah.
So I know how it all works. I know the pitch. I know how the conversations go. It's it's all discovery, really. That's
Hmm.
where it all takes place. All takes place in discovery. Um, Once you have that set. So now there's like another component to it of getting these people booked in the first place, and that's
Yeah.
I never really had to do that type of cold calling before, and that's coming to me now. I'm getting a real good groove, um, and that's it. Just when you get more at bats, you get there.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and I know like so before you were selling like right to the owner operator, the chuck in the
mhm.
truck, right? So and now like you mentioned a lot of times, yeah, that guy he's not really on LinkedIn, but he has a team that's on LinkedIn. So are you selling to more people in the account now? So like
Oh
you'll
yeah,
kind of you'll reach out to that guy, but he'll be like, "Oh, you got to talk to my son, who just graduated from, college and he's really the
yeah.
one running
No,
the business."
nothing like that. I mean, we're talking like the smallest account is a $30 million company, you know,
Nice.
but like the majority of them are, 100 million. And there's also like the private equity holding companies too that I'm like selling into now. So
Mm.
yeah, luckily, my named accounts have a ton of data. Um, so everything's filled out. There's an enormous amount of contacts in there. People before me that have worked them, all those notes are left behind. A lot of
Oh,
stuff
nice.
has been mined out of the website. So all the data is awesome. Without it, like job is a million times harder and almost set up
Yeah.
for anyone to fail, right? So they got their shit together in that regard, and lucky as hell, to have that. Um, but yeah, now it's it's easy to get into the monotonous flow of like just pull up your outreach tasks and then just work them down and just do what's
Yeah.
associated, whether it's a personalized email call or whatever. So it's very easy to get into that, and I feel that that's the most challenging thing because that's what I've
Mm.
always done. That's what made me the money. Now it's just the creative, right? Like the outside the box selling to the different accounts,
Yeah.
somehow reaching out to the CFO and hoping that their secretary, which is different from everyone else's secretary, would somehow be able to reroute you to the CMO. And then
Yeah.
having that initial, like just pre-discovery calls, I like to call it, just to make sure, like, hey, should we be talking? Like, let's slap personalities around first, see if there's any reason to talk, and then let's schedule like a legit discovery call. Um, so that's kind of been, yeah, the
Nice.
strategy so far.
No, you obviously have like a feel for it. So,
It's coming around. There's still so many other components of like the LinkedIn approach. Shit, I never had to use
yeah.
Navigator, dude. I tell people at work that I've
Yeah.
never used Navigator, and they're like, "How? How have you been in sales
Yeah.
this long without them?" I don't know. So I just got the login a couple of weeks ago, and different different system.
Yeah, that'll help with like the personalization piece a lot. So like like you mentioned, like having to think strategically and like think
Yeah,
about the account in 3D terms. So when you're talking about, what you're selling, you're talking about it in terms that resonate with them at like the company level, right? So it's not like that cookie cutter just talk track the whole time. So in Sales Navigator, like you can create these lists of oh weird, I'm getting a notice here. The recording is stopped, but everything up to now has been saved. To continue recording, tell them to stop and restart the studio recording. All right. Yeah, I guess so. Intermission music. I don't know if you can hear this. It's my kalimba. I wonder if his computer got fucked up. Make sure he's not emailing me.
Hope you liked the little mini concert at the end. So that was it. It was, again, hopefully you like the talk with Charlie. I think he's an awesome guy. I love talking to him any chance I get. And I'm going to have him on another time and just talk to him about work-life balance because, again, he plays in like a million different bands. And I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he has all the time to do that and perform at a high level. Other than that, like, keep tuning in. I appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, sign up for the newsletter. I'm getting regular with the newsletter. So if you like the podcast, if you like the stuff I post, like on all the different socials I'm on, like you'll really like the newsletter. It's more of the same, but it's more of like long form writing and articles that are too big to publish elsewhere in their entirety. You'll see like little bits and chunks of them on Twitter and LinkedIn, but to get like the full effect, you get that. And also there's I'm redoing my website, so go check it out. There's tons of free content on there. It's just free. Like you get it. I'm giving it away. The coolest thing I think is the path to quota calculator, where you just put in like what your quota is, some of your conversion rates, which it's easy to get. You don't have to have it exactly. You just have to know like how many opportunities you created or meetings you booked in a given time frame. And then it just spits you out how many people you need to reach out to every day to hit your quota. So when I was a rep, I used these calculations to really take stress off myself. It was like, okay, I have data. It's really black and white. I can just run the numbers and figure out what I have to do every day to, confidently get to my number. And it usually always worked, and I use it with huge clients, huge clients, pay tons of money to get access to shit like this. I'm giving it to you for free. So take advantage of it. And I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Love you. Bye.